so good to see you through the camera, even though I totally can't see you, but it's good to be here with you. Well, today we're going to talk about grace. And you say, what's grace? Well, one definition is God's riches at Christ's expense. What was Christ's expense? Well, you have to go back to the Garden of Eden. And in the Garden of Eden, Adam and Eve had one rule to stay in fellowship with God, one rule to be with God. And guess what they did? They dropped the rule. And so then you go on through the Bible and you see where God gave rules of how he wants us to be holy, and people would go along the way and they would drop his rules, and people couldn't be holy. Remember, grace, God's riches at Christ's expense. Well, Jesus came to earth, and what's amazing about Jesus is that Jesus lived a perfect life. He was tempted, but you know what? He never gave in to those temptations. And things like obey your mom and dad, lie, don't steal, don't cheat. And so I have, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. I have 10. These will represent the 10 commandments. This red thread will represent Jesus. Jesus kept the law. He was tested. But then the interesting thing, God's riches at Christ's expense, he was crucified on a cross for breaking the law, which he never broke. We broke the law, so he died in our place. Now, the interesting thing is that we have access to Jesus. This line represents Jesus. This represents the law. But the question is, do you respond? If you don't respond to Jesus, we still continue to break the law. Nothing happens. No matter, if you're get distracted, all of a sudden you can break God's law. But the cool thing is that when we respond to Jesus, I've added 1 to this side, it doesn't matter if you're distracted or not. Check this out. He keeps the law for us. When we respond to him, the Bible says in Ephesians 2, 8, and 9, for it is by grace you have been saved through faith, and that not of yourselves. It is the gift of God, that no one should boast. So when God says, my grace is sufficient, it is. You can trust in him. You can cling to him. You can rely on him. He keeps the law for you. But do you say, I'm just going to throw away the whole thing and I don't have to obey? No. John 14:21, if you love God, you keep his commandments. Well, that's a picture of grace.